heavy-duty trucking is a huge opportunity, and it's this chicken and egg thing where, like, we don't really have a lot of EV trucks on the road yet because there's not a robust EV charging infrastructure for the Class 8 kind of trucks that are out there. So Tesla is seeking funding to build this kind of route, basically, from Texas, where they have a factory, to Northern California, where they also have a factory. So it's obviously in their interest to sort of do the route this way.
This is some 4D fucking chess right here, folks. It's less than 500 miles from Austin to the Corpus Christi lithium refinery to Giga Mexico. In this video, some leaked Tesla plans show something big coming soon. And no, this isn't really about Tesla Semi, but their next-gen vehicle platform. It's time to follow the breadcrumbs. And just a heads up to my Patreon supporters, not only have I dropped a new exclusive Q&A, lots of spicy topics there, also posted a new exclusive video on Patreon covering Ford's disastrous Q2 and some very scary statements about the future. If you'd like to join Patreon, you can click the link in the pinned comment.
Let's take a look at the map. We're talking about a route between Laredo, Texas, up to Northern California. What did you learn about what Tesla's trying to do?
Yeah, so there's a lot of money in the infrastructure bill from President Biden to build out EV charging. And when we talk about EV charging, we typically focus on passenger cars. But if we're going to really electrify transportation in the United States, heavy-duty trucking is a huge opportunity. And it's this chicken and egg thing where, like, we don't really have a lot of EV trucks on the road yet because there's not a robust EV charging infrastructure for the Class 8 kind of trucks that are out there. So Tesla is seeking funding to build this kind of route, basically, from Texas, where they have a factory, to Northern California, where they also have a factory. So it's obviously in their interest to sort of do the route this way. We know that the semi-truck is going to be used to sort of haul Tesla goods internally.
This is true, and it's an important point. One of Tesla Semi's biggest and most important early customers is Tesla themselves. I've got to say, it is kind of embarrassing that Tesla is currently using diesel-powered semi-trucks to ship a lot of parts, materials, vehicles, etc. throughout the United States, of course. They don't really have much choice. They're still battery constrained, so they can't produce as many Tesla Semis as they'd like to. But it is funny to take a step back and think, this is kind of hilarious. They're making electric vehicles, transitioning the world to sustainable energy, yet still using fossil fuel-powered semi-trucks to move a lot of their own products. This is why they have developed a Semi. They are, unfortunately, still battery constrained. And aside from the environmental impact, which will be big, huge, after all, semi-trucks are utilized a lot more than a typical passenger vehicle. So you get outsized bang for buck in terms of displacing a diesel semi-truck versus an internal combustion engine passenger vehicle. But from the business point of view, from an investor's point of view, over the long term, using electric semi-trucks to transport cargo, freight, parts, and so on will be hugely beneficial financially, as we know, at least hopefully we know. Cost to own and operate an electric semi versus a diesel semi, chalk and cheese. It is significantly cheaper to have an electric semi-truck versus a diesel truck. Why? Two key reasons: maintenance and fuel/energy. The more miles a vehicle does, the more things break, the more maintenance is required. So, as we know, electric vehicles require very little maintenance versus fossil fuel-based vehicles. There's far fewer moving parts. In addition, the cost to recharge versus refuel is significantly cheaper. And this compounds. The more miles being driven, commercial vehicles, of course, doing a shit ton of miles per year, the more of a compounding effect you have in terms of these cost savings on maintenance and energy/fuel. This is often overlooked, but this is going to be one of the key ways that Tesla can drive further cost out of their business, drive their overall cost down, become more productive over the long term. It will take time. The payback period for an electric semi is just a couple of years, meaning after that point in time, after your initial investment, a few years down the track, each electric semi can potentially be saving hundreds of thousands, over a lifetime, millions of dollars. And if a core part of your business involves moving physical objects, heavy physical objects, from factories to customer locations, the financial impact of massively reducing your freight costs can't be overstated.
And it's also a major trucking corridor. I mean, there's a lot of trucking in Texas in general. So, this is not a done deal. This is Tesla seeking federal funding to kind of do this proposal. But it's just an interesting window into sort of what Tesla has planned and is thinking about. And their policy team has always been very shrewd of taking advantage of any federal funding that is out there.
This is true. If there's free money on offer, especially if there's free money on offer for doing things you already planned on doing, why wouldn't you take it? And in totally unrelated matters, I highly encourage you guys and girls, if you'd like to access more content, Click the links in the pinned comment. Join Patreon, subscribe over on X/Twitter. I don't need the money, but I'll take it.
I think it's 9 proposed sites between Laredo and Northern California, right? It's also interesting south of the border because Tesla has plans for production in Mexico.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and you can sort of imagine that Tesla could use this route to ship parts and batteries and goods between its various facilities here in North America.
Bullseye. Giga Mexico, Fremont, Austin. Tesla has factories, facilities along this route. It's pretty clear that this is in Tesla's best interest. They're probably going to need to do this anyway. And as I mentioned earlier, if there's free money on offer for doing something you were already going to do, you'd have to be insane not to take it. Now, I know the penny hasn't quite dropped for everyone watching here, so let's talk about this in a little bit more detail. Tesla's Gigafactory in Mexico, announced this year, will be producing Tesla's next generation vehicle. Tesla's Model Y today is already the world's best-selling vehicle. For the full year, it's probably going to do around 1 million or so units. My estimates for their next generation vehicle, which have been available in my Tesla valuation model from day one, available exclusively on Patreon to supporters at the investor level and above. Click the link in the pinned comment if you'd like access, and feel free to fact check me if you've got the very first version I ever published back in 2021. My estimate for combined 3 and Y sales per year is a fraction of what Tesla's next generation vehicle will do. We are talking millions upon millions upon millions of units per year. Now, I don't know the first stage production capacity for Giga Mexico. I think it's going to surprise people. And when I say surprise people, I mean it's going to be a holy fucking shit moment. A linear decrease in the price of a compelling vehicle creates an exponential increase in demand. And this thing is going to be half the price of today's 3 or Y, give or take, once ramped up. We're not talking 2 million units per year. We're talking 5, 7, 8, 10 plus million units per year. And I know that sounds crazy, but I have actually thought about this. So going by your gut reaction may not be the best idea here. Actually, think about the numbers, the implications of a 50% cheaper, compelling electric vehicle, potential demand for that. The fact that Tesla is now looking at building out a charging network for electric semis, which is in essence going to run from Mexico through Texas and then into California, 3 places in which Tesla has factories, is rather telling. I strongly suspect, that their next generation vehicle is a big part of why. Tesla has serious plans for their next gen vehicle. Of all the locations they could have selected, of all the places they could have considered building out charging networks for Tesla semis, what are the odds it just so happens to run through 3 locations in which they currently have or soon will have factories? Oh, and that wasn't the final piece of the puzzle. You know, the lithium refinery Tesla has already broken ground on in Corpus Christi? Remember? Let's have a look at that map. Those charging locations, including where Tesla's new lithium refinery happens to be. Well, what do you know? Here are all the new locations, plus the Corpus Christi lithium refinery. What a coincidence. Fremont, where Tesla currently has a factory, through Bakersfield, Compton, Indio, Phoenix, Sparks, Texas, Fort Stockton, Laredo, and finally, Corpus Christi. Look at that. Just after the final destination, which was in this proposed locations, a short trip to Corpus Christi, where Tesla's lithium refinery is underway. Think about this, ladies and gentlemen. You've got Tesla's lithium refinery at one end. You have Tesla's Fremont factory at the other end. Oh, and isn't this interesting? What about Austin? Corpus Christi, Austin, boom. Just to show you guys what that might look like, we'll add Austin as a destination as well. Fancy fucking that. Oh, and I'm not done yet. Unfortunately, Google can't handle any more locations. May I suggest some lubricant, Google? That might help. Let's replace Austin with the Gigafactory Mexico location. What do you fucking know? So we can't look at Austin and the Monterrey location of Giga Mexico at the same time, but as you guys can see here on screen, Austin's up here. Clustered around the Corpus Christi lithium refinery, we have Giga Mexico, Giga Austin, and a new charging route proposed that runs from these locations all the way back to Tesla's Fremont, California factory. Tesla ain't fucking around. Now consider this for a moment. Let's just say hypothetically speaking, there were some incentives available, let's say for companies who were refining lithium in the United States. Well, isn't that convenient? Tesla's got a lithium refinery in the US. Let's just say there's additional incentives for assembling lithium-ion battery cells in the United States. Look at that. What if instead, however, there's incentives for refining lithium in the US, but no additional incentives for assembling battery packs or battery cells in the US? You know where labor's cheaper than the US? Mexico. How convenient. It just so happens that the Corpus Christi lithium refinery is effectively on the border of the US and Mexico. isn't that convenient. Tesla has a lot of flexibility here in the future where they're assembling cells, battery packs, and ultimately vehicles. What if, for example, that there's an incentive available to vehicles whose final assembly happens to occur in the United States? Isn't it convenient that Giga Mexico is quite close to Giga Austin? What if final assembly, vehicles that are half produced in Mexico, is done in Austin? This is some 4D fucking chess right here, folks. It's no coincidence that Tesla's Austin factory, Mexico factory, and their lithium refinery are a stone's throw from one another. It's less than 500 miles from Austin to the Corpus Christi lithium refinery to Giga Mexico. You can drive that in less than a day. This ain't an accident.
But it's also, the route kind of goes from Laredo through, through the Phoenix area and then Southern California and then up to Fremont. Interestingly, it stops in Compton and in Bakersfield. There's a big kind of push to electrify, electrify in neighborhoods that are low income, and so the Biden administration is very, very aware of the impact of diesel fuel on port communities, on low income communities, and so the cities that are chosen are sort of interesting from that perspective as well.
Dana, you're completely right that the electrification story is just as much about commercial vehicles as it is the consumer car. What do we know about the production plans for the Tesla Semi?
Well, interestingly, they have been very slow to kind of get these vehicles out. They made a big show of kind of turning over their first vehicles to Pepsi and Frito-Lay, and, that company is definitely using them and piloting them and running them. But in the last earnings report, Tesla, in its deck, said that the Semi is still in pilot production. And so, it's going to be quite a while, I think, before we see these at a massive scale. I think Tesla is still learning a lot. I think the battery size is still a question for a lot of people. Like, how big is this battery? There was a recall earlier this year, so they're still kind of working out the kinks, which is smart, right? You don't want to make a ton of Class 8 trucks and then have to recall them. So I think it's just a very slow process.
While I'm sure Tesla is still ironing out a few kinks, the big limiting factor, shout out to the limiting factor, is battery cells, 4680 cells specifically. Until Tesla can alleviate this bottleneck and produce essentially unlimited 4680 cells rapidly, this will limit production in particular of the Cybertruck and the Tesla Semi. Once solved, however, it's off to the races. Now let's look at this proposal in a little more detail. We're over on Doomberg. Tesla wants to build a semi-truck charging route from Texas to California. EV maker seeks $100 million for 9 big rig charging points. Musk-led company has struggled to bring Tesla Semi to market. Shout out to the battery constraints. Tesla is seeking nearly $100 million from the US to build 9 electric semi-charging stations along a route from the very secure southern border of Texas to Northern California, according to emails seen by Doomberg News. The company proposed each be equipped with 8 750 kilowatt-hour chargers for Tesla Semi vehicles and 4 chargers for trucks made by its competitors, its executives said in emails to the Texas Department of Transportation between May and early July. If successful, it would be a first-of-its-kind charging network in the US. It would enable long-haul electrified trucking from Texas to California, along with regional haul trucking in Texas, Arizona, and California. The US relies heavily upon commercial trucks to move goods, but has struggled to limit the sector's greenhouse gas emissions. If only somebody could save the day. Where's Trevor Milton gone? Trevor, we need you, buddy. Help. Tesla executives told Texas officials the corridor could qualify for federal grants or be dispersed as part of a major new bipartisan infrastructure program created to modernize US transit systems, among other aims. Tesla asked the state officials to write a letter in support of the Big Rig charging project to include in its funding application, which was submitted in June. A representative of the US Department of Transportation's Federal Highway Administration, which is overseeing the grants, said the agency is, quote, currently reviewing applications. It expects to announce recipients later this year. California's South Coast Air Quality Management District led the application on behalf of Austin-based Tesla. An executive at the office's Technology Advancement Unit said Tesla is seeking $97 million of federal money and plans to put up $24 million itself. It's unclear if the company would pursue the project without a grant. Tesla didn't respond to a request for comment, of course. Now, my strong suspicion is that Tesla will in fact pursue this with or without the free money. It's in their best interest. As I mentioned, this route essentially goes through 3 locations where Tesla has or will soon have factories. And don't forget the lithium refinery, as we mentioned. To drive from Austin to the lithium refinery to Giga Mexico is less than 500 miles. Total coincidence, what a fluke. Definitely wasn't Tesla planning ahead. What an accident that these locations all just happen to be right fucking next to each other. Logistically, this is an absolute no-brainer. Tesla will be moving parts, components, and vehicles themselves between these locations, scaling up massive amounts of production, many millions of vehicles per year with the new Gigafactory in Mexico and the next-gen vehicle. This is a very obvious step one. Ultimately, expect Tesla to have semi-mega charging routes throughout the US, but this is a key corridor, the most obvious low-hanging fruit. Athletic Greens AG1 has given me a massive, meaningful boost in energy, allowing me to do a lot more every day, including using my brain more and using my body more. I highly recommend you guys and girls check it out. Athletic Greens AG1 is an excellent way to fill in nutritional gaps. It's got 75 high-quality vitamins, minerals, and whole food source nutrients, plus prebiotics and probiotics and digestive enzymes and adaptogens to help you deal with stress. Plus, if you click the link in the pinned comment or head to drinkag1.com/SMR, you can get yourself a 1-year free supply of vitamin D3 and K2. But don't take my word for it. Here's what some of you guys and girls have to say. AG1 has changed my life. I was, as you described, treating myself like a circus, ate like trash, rarely exercised, used alcohol as a stress crutch, cannabis also. AG1 is what gave me the kick in the ass, got me back to the gym, motivated me to do more for myself, family, my business, etc. Keep doing what you do. Now, I know there's some skeptics, the same kind of people who think Elon Musk is a fraud, reading this going, what do you thought? There's no way that's possible, bro. It must be a placebo effect. Believe it or not, this is a recurring theme. If you give your body everything it needs to feel and perform its best, including having a lot more energy, you'll need ways to use that energy. For me personally, that includes more exercise, moving my body more social activity, and more cognitively demanding tasks, including producing a fuck ton of exclusive content over on Twitter and on Patreon, plus my daily YouTube uploads. The proof's in the pudding. On to another testimonial from a viewer of this channel. SMR, you asked me to provide feedback on AG1. Here it is. It has helped with mental acuity, stamina, and intestinal waste management. Can't read between the lines. Certainly helps with regularity and digestion. That's what the digestive enzymes are for. It has also dramatically reduced my cravings for sugar. You guys need to stop eating sugar. It's fucking poison. I'm 50, 5'9", and overweight, aka a fat motherfucker. I think that's a technical term for overweight, isn't it? Is it fat motherfucker or obese? I can't remember. I average 100 hours a week in the West Texas oil fields as a safety supervisor. Jesus Christ, dude. No wonder you're struggling to keep your weight under control. 100 hours a week. Brutal. It has helped me lose weight. It is not an appetite suppressant. It can help fat people suppress cravings, and motivation to be healthier is critical for changing your diet. Love you, brother. Again, this is a great point and something people really don't seem to grasp. If you have more energy, everything becomes easier. It's like turning on easy mode for life. A few years ago, before I was taking AG1, my health was trash. I was struggling to get through the day, had afternoon fatigue. The last thing I wanted to do was either use my brain or move my body. Didn't have the energy. Now, my biggest struggle every day is figuring out ways to use that energy. I'm exercising way more, doing a lot more with my friends and family, and of course, my work output has increased substantially. And you can fact check me. Check out the average length of my videos I was posting to YouTube 3 years ago. Need I say more? And one final testimonial. Love this one. Okay, here's the deal for me with this AG1 shit. I'm 41 years old and not the type to eat, drink, smoke, or sleep healthy, so I was skeptical. That being said, here's what I experienced. Day 1, meh. Day 2, afternoon fatigue was about 45 minutes late. Day 3, 0 afternoon fatigue. Day 4, 0 afternoon fatigue plus extra energy. Day 5, again, 0 afternoon fatigue plus energy, wondering, what the fuck, really? See, this is the thing, right? The results for many people are just almost too good to be true. This is the same experience I had. My afternoon fatigue just vanished out of nowhere. I'm like, wait, what the fuck? Why am I not tired in the afternoons anymore? Surely, it's not that AG1, is it? Turns out it was. Day 6 and 7, same thing. Day 8, same thing. Plus, I had the want to get things done around the house that I normally would slack off and not get done. Again, the point, extra energy, you'll need to use it, you'll find ways to use it. Day 9, 10, and 11, and today is day 12. I fucking love it. So however you managed to get me to buy it, I'm so glad you did. Thank you so much, SMR. It really changed me so far. Guys, this shit really works. Just try it. By the way, this is the reason I continue to relentlessly promote AG1. A lot of people get real fucking mad in the comments. Oh my God, snake oil salmon's sold out. Oh my God, he's a scammer. This is fraud. But constantly, I'm pretty sure everyone making these comments is also currently short Tesla stock. I'm not particularly concerned about people having a negative perception, those folks suffering from small brain syndrome, still living in my bum's basement syndrome, etc., writing mean comments, claiming AG1's a scam or it doesn't work. I mean, bro, when I get feedback like this is what keeps me going. And remember, there is a 90-day money-back guarantee. There's nothing to lose here. Just try this stuff for a month, and if you don't get these results, get your money back. See, it's a literal no-brainer. It's an IQ test at this point in time. Testimonial after testimonial after testimonial like this. Get your money back if it doesn't work. Just try it for a month, and if it doesn't work, get your money back. Today's the day. It's finally time. Be like this guy who was a massive skeptic, but finally, after 1,000 promotions in a row, caved in, tried AG1, and has results like this. Head to drinkag1.com/SMR or click the link in the pinned comment, and please let me know how you're feeling in a few weeks' time. Now, if you'll excuse me, time to put my extra energy to good use. I'll be recording some more exclusive content for Patreon and my Twitter subscribers. So click the links in the pinned comment. See you over on Twitter and or Patreon, and don't forget to grab your AG1. Love ya.